Welcome everyone to MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek The Next Generation Season 7, Episode 20. It's called Journey's End. So spoilers for the episode as always. Oh boy. So this... Look, when we read the description for this last episode, I said it sounded terrible, right? For a couple of reasons. One, the focus on Native Americans made me worry for just stereotypes and the general kind of slightly racist thing that TV does whenever they're dealing with this topic. And it's not like this show has not had a dodgy episode in the past when it comes to race. So that was point number one. And then point number two was the image of Wesley Crusher. Little did I know just how important Wesley was going to be to the overall plot of this episode.
Yeah, I would say the Native American stuff wasn't as bad as I feared it would be.
Outside of just the typical, like, oh, there's a spiritual kind of quality that's very stereotyped.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, it wasn't as bad as, I mean, one, other examples of just Native American stuff that you could go with, two, that this show has done. I think for the most part, it was actually okay. It was very head on in addressing that. They've been resettled before. Maybe this isn't a great idea. It's very much the focus.
It wasn't as bad as of Code of Honor. I think that was the end of the episode back in season 1. But
oh yeah, that was not even close.
Yeah, it's not on that level, but still. Generally speaking, I don't tend to like when shows do this. I mean, not this type of episode exactly, because this is very specifically Star Trek. But you know what I mean. Like whenever we get the episode where, you know, like in Smallville, Clark goes and meets the local Native American community because there's some cave paintings or something. Like, it's always a bit icky.
That's a rough season.
X-Files has a few episodes like that as well that I've hit so far. Like, it seems to be a very constant, like, type of episode trope that a lot of TV in the 90s and 80s seemed to hit on. But, yeah. Anyway. So, yeah, the basic gist of this is that a new treaty's been made with Cardassia, in order to basically divvy up the border in space. We have kind of a new neutral zone, but for the Federation Cardassians, they don't actually call it that, but that's effectively
it's
what it is.
The demilitarized zone.
Yeah. But that's what it is, right? That's what the neutral zone always was.
Yes, but they use that term specifically, which I think conjures slightly different imagery now compared to neutral zone.
I guess it's just because Star Trek, though. I was like, yeah, it's a neutral zone, basically, is what you're saying.
No, oh, absolutely. I think it was a conscious choice. I think they conjure different wars, right, and different like real world parallels.
So it's like, okay, but one of the concessions is that this border means that a few planets that were Cardassian controlled are now on the Federation side, and a few planets that were in our territory are now on the Cardassian side, and one such has a Native American preservation on it, basically, and we have to go to get them to move. And Picard, to be fair, immediately, as soon as he hears this from the Admiral, he's like, you know, I have some problems with this. I mean, this is a group of people who have been told to shift before, and I don't really feel comfortable. So no one likes these orders. Even the Admiral admits they're shitty orders, but ultimately the peace treaty and all the people it's going to save and all the wars that will stop, this is the lesser of the evils, but we do have to go do this very unpleasant thing. And if you can't convince them to leave willingly, then you're going to have to do it with some force, and no one's pleased about it.
Yeah, I think it is one of them. She's slightly less bad than typical in this case, because she is very much on his side, being like, hey, I've argued this as well, but I've been overruled.
She is, although interestingly, and this is perhaps one of my more favourite moments of the episode, is that they kind of expect her to be more of a problem because Picard's got some beef with her and he's trying to, like, he's got her tea and some treats on a little plate, and he's like, I'm going to try and make her feel welcome. I don't want there to be tension. And then she's understanding, and it's like, so it's almost like a meta thing where, like, you're expecting the Admiral to be a complete shithead, and yeah, we have some disagreements, but they're actually fairly reasonable here, and it was almost a surprise. So I just thought it was funny that Picard and Riker were kind of also expecting her to be a Badmiral, and she's like a bit more sensible.
Yeah, she is very much on the same opinion that this is shitty, you know, and she's argued the same as what Picard is arguing to her right now.
Yeah, she's already lost that fight, so it's almost like in vain that Picard's even trying to make these points at this point. But and then also, Wesley Crusher is on leave from Starfleet Academy, and what I thought was just going to be the B plot of the episode, it obviously ends up converging heavily into the A plot by the end. But so what makes you more excited about a Wesley Crusher appearance? Him having like a really like shitty attitude where he's got like a bone to grind with everyone he talks to, where he's like, "Oh, Geordie, is that really what you've put in your new warp compressor? Oh, that won't last very long. This is obsolete. I read it in a paper." And like, just throw him into the warp core. Just throw him in there. That was
bad. I think it was the next argument that he had with his mum. I can't remember what it was about, but like, it was the next one where I was like, I have not missed Wesley Crusher on this show.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit. And like, I appreciate on paper that you've got this young character. He's kind of, you know, like, they say he's 4th year Starfleet Academy. I don't know what age that necessarily correlates to, but like, he seems like he's about 18 or something now. It's like, okay, I get that we have to do some things where maybe he's starting to maybe not just be this model student anymore, and he's whatever, but god damn, he's just instantly this whiny little asshole, like the second he starts speaking in this episode, and he's got this pouty face the entire time. There's nothing, like, I have no empathy for anything that's happening with him in this episode.
He's somehow more unlikable than he was when he was on the show regularly.
Yeah, it's like he's making up for all the lost time. It's like, hey, we're going to make sure you hate him just like so much more this episode to make up for the fact that he's been missing for the last 2
years worth of shittiness. Yeah.
And then of course one of the Native Americans, which by the way, they throw the word Indian around in this episode, which felt really dated to me. I don't know if that's just like a time thing where because it was made
I think
in the
it
80s.
is. I think that was just the terminology used at the time.
Yeah, I mean, they don't mean it offensively in this or anything, but it stuck out as being a bit weirdly old school. But so there's this one Native American character that starts just talking to Wesley, and right from the second he started talking to Wesley, I just got the vibe that this guy, like, there's nothing to really suggest it, but like, I don't think anyone else can see you. This feels like only Wesley can speak. Like, you're going to turn it to be like a vision or someone that's in Wesley's head or something. And sure enough, like everything else with this guy, which is like, hey Wesley, I've known you were coming for years. I've had visions. Why don't you come down and have a vision? I'll put you in a room with some weird drugs, and you can have a vision of your father, and he can tell you that, you know, you were only going down this path of Starfleet because you assumed that you should follow in my footsteps. But now, end of the journey, buddy. Do your own path. Do your own thing. And all this ends up tying back into that season 1 episode. I think it was a season 1 episode. Where the traveler, this like, you know, being that has like, he lives in another plane of existence and is super like fancy, like one of these godlike characters that Star Trek so often has. Although unlike original series, more nice and not like a pouty child that's menacing, you know, the Enterprise. But you know, Beverly brings him up when Wesley's made his big choice to like, you know, drop out of Starfleet Academy, and he's had like because he does a whole thing where when the situation's escalating because there might be a bit of a conflict and they're having to maybe set up the fact that they're going to have to take them by force. As soon as Wesley hears about it, he starts yelling, "They're going to beam me up! They're going to beam me up! Don't let them do it!" And like, rightfully, Picard, we cut to a scene of Picard grilling this little shit out.
What the hell are you doing? Yeah.
You're a disgrace to that uniform. You disobeyed an order from the officer on scene, and blah, blah, blah. As long as you wear that outfit, that uniform, you have to follow orders. And he's like, "I won't be wearing this outfit any longer." And he throws down his badge. I'm like, oh, Picard, hit him, please, Picard, do it.
He's a bit young to be turning in his gun and badge, though, isn't he?
It does feel that's what he's doing. But he's had his vision, he wants to quit, and he explains to his mother that he wants to do his own thing, and she kind of somewhat understands it. And she even brings up the Traveler from season 1 and says, hey, he told us all you were like Mozart, and you're going to be this special being who walks on your own like weird astral plane or some other nonsense.
Yeah, and here it is.
Yep, and it turns out the Native American who's been speaking to him all episode, when Wesley Crusher freezes time with his mind because he has that power, out he comes and he face morphs into the Traveler, and it's actually, no, this is your first step on your journey. If you accept me as your guide, I will show you such sights I'll have such sights to show you. Starts quoting Pinhead or something like that. But And actually, what's so funny is I thought when they walk away from this frozen time moment where like, there's like it's like mid battle and there's like phaser blasters going off and
Someone's
stuff.
like, the shot is about to hit someone.
Yeah, it's about to hit a Cardassian. I thought that was literally just him off the episode. Like that's him away from the show. And like I was expecting the end to be Wesley Crusher's missing, but then it turns out he actually did go up and explain to his mum and Picard that he's leaving, and so they get a hug goodbye and all the usual stuff.
It was very jarring.
Yeah, because I really thought he just walked off in that moment and that was him gone. But fair enough. But yeah, that was the whole Wesley thing. I did think it was funny though when he was trying to explain to his mum that he had this vision and that he saw his dad and his dad said this, dad said that. I really thought we were going to go down a path of Beverly maybe questioning, wait, what did the Native American man give you? Like, what was it, LSD?
She's a doctor. She could just like do a little test.
Yeah, I feel like she would be having some questions about what substances he might have ingested before this vision happened.
Yep. And I just, she just doesn't question it that much. In fact, like, you had a vision from your dead dad. Okay, fine, whatever.
I mean, I think she gets what the lesson was, though. Like the idea that when he heard him say this, like, oh, that made him realize, oh yeah, I've been just going down this path on autopilot because everyone expects me to go down Starfleet. So
the dialogue in this scene was so bad. Like,
yeah.
Being just like, I was enjoying school, and then I was depressed, and then it just got worse, and then it didn't stop, and it just it's so just monotone, poor, right? Like it's terrible.
Yeah, it's not very good, and like it feels like this entire plot, it just exists to kind of bring Wesley back for one episode to kind of finish off this loose end that they felt they needed to tie off way back from season 1 where they said he was going to be important. And I'm sure when they wrote that episode, I can't imagine they knew that they were going to write him off the show after a few seasons. Right? I'm sure when they were doing season 1, they thought, no, he's going to be a regular until we're done.
Probably, yeah.
I have to imagine that's the case. And maybe they were going to build up to some stuff, maybe show him like gain abilities or something, or do more special things gradually over the course of whatever time. But
yeah. I doubt they had any like solid plan in mind of what he was going to do or be, because
yeah, no, I agree.
It's just not how TV was written at the time.
But I think they thought they were going to have more time with him, and I think the fact that they, whoever made the decision to get rid of him because everyone hates him, whenever that happened, I'm sure that wasn't what they saw coming. So it's like, oh shit, well, I guess we'll just have to bring him back for one episode and do all of it right here and now.
Yeah, we are very much in that period of let's tie up some loose ends now.
Yeah. I mean, would you have been mad if they had never tied off this Traveler promise from season 1?
I think I would have completely forgotten about it.
I think that's fair. It also felt very weird though, because like once he freezes time, the Traveler sort of reveals what's going on, and he's like, "Oh, you're about to start a journey that very few human beings will ever do. You're special, Wesley." And he's like, "Really? Am I?" And I'm like, you keep telling me Wesley's special. And this was maybe the problem back in season 1 when they had this first thing come up. It's like, you're telling me he's special, but nothing about him feels special. Right? This is a classic example of you telling me something rather than showing me something to be true.
I also think this would have played better if Wesley was still younger. Like in the original plan, so to speak. I think that it would have played more like Peter Pan-esque. You can kind of see like aping on those tropes. Whereas here, he's basically an adult at this point. There's a good portion of the episode where Picard's like, he's like a man now. Like, I can't just give him advice as a kid anymore. And yeah, I think that whole true. I think these bits are like, oh, you're special, Wesley. I think it's just when that's to a child. I know it wasn't like a child, but like when that's to someone younger, like it plays differently compared to this person who's now an adult. For all intents and purposes, I think it comes across very differently.
Yeah, it's tough. It's they try and make him feel special, but he was always kind of the ugly duckling of the cast of the crew, right? It was of the main cast. He was always the one that no one liked. So it feels particularly disingenuous when you're trying to say he's the special one. It's kind of like, in some TV shows, like someone ends up being like the standout character that everyone kind of loves. Right, so they become kind of the popular one, and sometimes you get into a situation where maybe they over prioritize them because they're so popular. But it's almost like this is like from the get go trying to say someone's going to be important, but it doesn't line up with what the actual reaction to any of the characters actually is. you know, I'm trying to think of a good example from something else, but like it's almost like while there might have been a genuine plan in mind or a vague idea of like where they wanted to take this idea of a chosen one, like a child who's going to be important or special, it's almost, it would have been worth perhaps waiting to see who was maybe shining a little bit more in terms of the. But having said that, the fact that they wrote off Wesley and then didn't sort of like have another character kind of take up the reins where they could be the character to go on that journey says they were never that committed to that journey in the first place. Like if they thought the story of like someone going off with the Traveler and being this higher being or something was something they really wanted to tell in some big grand way, then they would have made a point of doing it with someone else, you know, instead of just having it this thing that just gets shoehorned in here quickly to wrap up Wesley's storyline, as opposed to, you know, whatever else.
I don't think they ever had a real plan for beyond this. I think it was just that'll be a neat way for. Maybe it was something they thought about when they wanted to shift Wesley off the show on their own terms originally. It's like, oh, that can be a way to move him on naturally. But instead, they got forced into it a bit earlier than they maybe anticipated, and things happened.
Yeah, I don't know. So nothing particularly satisfying about Wesley's story in this episode. In fact, he's maybe the most irritating he's ever been.
Yeah. He never apologizes to Geordi either.
No, it was a dick move. He's just an absolute asshole to Geordi, and then never. I mean, I don't even think we ever see Geordi again. Never mind see him get apologized to.
No, it feels weird. It's like I know this show often has like, oh, we're missing, you know, key members. Mm-hmm. You know, we rotate through pretty regularly, but when it's like the return of someone like Wesley, I feel like it seems weird not having some of them be there. Like it's like no Riker, no Data.
I mean, yeah, we see them briefly in a couple of scenes, but yeah, they're not really.
But they're just not. They have like no like. It feels like they should have scenes with Wesley still.
Yeah, well,
especially if this is kind of his. If this is Wesley's big final climax, this is the end of his arc. It feels weird that you don't have those characters that were there with him at the start have a moment with him to some extent.
No, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, you just see Data's in a scene with them right at the start of the episode, but that's like the last time we see Data in this episode.
Yeah, and as I say, they don't really have any moments together. No. He's there, sure, but they don't have anything.
Yeah. Yeah, if nothing else, you'd expect maybe more of them to be there for the goodbye at the end, perhaps, just to see him off. Kind of thing.
And then the only interaction with Geordi is, it starts off okay, but by the end of it, it's just I thought you were better than this, Geordi. You know, do better, and then that's it.
Good riddance, Wesley. No. Good riddance. That's all I could say.
Will not be missed.
No, we'll enjoy all 5 episodes without you.
6, 5, yeah. I forgot the last one's double here. 5 episodes.
Oh dear. Yeah. Do you know what? It's funny because I forgot. Like when I was watching Picard when that was airing, and it was like, oh, will we see Wesley with everyone else by the end? And someone said something to me about it, just imply that that wouldn't be feasible. So I guess it implied that there was some kind of weirdness to how he ends the story on this show, and I'd forgotten all about it. But as he was walking off with the Traveler, I went, "Oh yeah, he's in a cloud somewhere. That's why he's not showing up."
I think at some point I'd picked up that he does go off to become some higher being. I think I had that vague knowledge, but I still feel like, is this necessarily the end? Like, is there any reason why we do? If he's going to be like a time hopping, outside of time as a dimension being, could we not just like even still in this series, could we not see him in the last episode theoretically, like from his perspective a future version of Wesley, but for us it's like it's not been that long, but he can pop back in essentially with knowledge.
I mean, yeah, if he can go around anywhere he wants because he's this superior being, then why can't he just pop in for a hello every once in a while? Technically,
yeah.
No, that's true. I don't know.
Anyway, like I say, maybe there's more to happen that rules things out.
Oh, maybe there is something else that we don't know about yet in the finale or something. But I also wouldn't be surprised though if this is just the last we ever see of him.
I agree. It could go either way. I hope it's the last we ever see of him.
So, I mean, the main plot otherwise in the episode, though, of course, is all about the negotiation to, hey, could you guys leave this planet? And the chief is kind of like, hey, we didn't just pick this planet because it was like suitable from like a climate perspective and all these other things. He also spoke to me. The mountains welcome me here. Like, he basically talks about some spiritual reasons why this is the place. This is the place to be, and they don't want to leave. And they kind of reiterate that a bunch of times over the course of the episode. And then the other thing he brings up is that Picard had an ancestor about 700 years ago that was a part of a Spanish group that came in and was savage to the Native Americans in New Mexico. And Picard kind of is like, well, I didn't know about this incident, and I'd certainly never even heard of this guy that I'm related to 700 years ago.
23 generations, I believe he says.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what bearing that really has on like my negotiating this. And I mean, I kind of get what he's saying, because I mean, I'm not sure what bearing it really has on anything. But
absolutely none. But the guy's like, you must wipe clean the blood stain on your family.
Yeah, that was the thing. Right? So he keeps saying that. He says that a few times, where he's like, oh, you're here. The reason why you were chosen in a cosmic sense is because you're here to wipe clean the blood stain on your family's name. And Picard's like, I want to respect your beliefs, but like I can't, like I'm not feeling anything for this. I don't really feel guilty for something that someone did 700 years ago. But then on top of that, the thing that really bothered me about this is that at the end of the episode, and we'll get to what the solution is, but at the end of the scene at the very end, he's like, see, Mr. Captain Picard, I told you, you would not take us from this place, and you have, wiped clean that blood, that stain of blood that is on your family's name. And I kind of stopped and went, but Picard's not really the one who solved any of this. Like, he didn't really have that much of a part. I mean, I guess he convinced the...
just agreed to it?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Cardassians show up at one point, and that causes some conflict. And Picard does convince the Cardassian not to get violent. He convinces him not to send in the troops because there's a bit of a tussle going on. So I guess in that, he did do something there. But, like, I don't know. It never felt like Picard... I mean... The problem is that it cuts to this solution where all of the debate and the idea havings all happened off camera. So if this was Picard's idea, maybe he should be thanked for that, as Connor's grabbing a cat and throwing it away.
Sorry, he's trying to destroy everything on the desk.
If we'd seen Picard go through this process, but we don't. We cut to a scene at the end where it turns out they've made like a 3-way deal with the Cardassian commander, where they're agreeing to like basically leave the Federation. They won't be citizens of the Federation anymore. They'll stay on the planet, but they're under Cardassian law. And the Cardassian's like, hey, if you stay away from us, we'll stay away from you, and you can have your little corner of this planet. Probably
was a very important part of that. Like, yeah, I'm sure others will listen.
But do you know what my problem with this ending is, though? Is because we don't see the build to this idea and the build to like convincing each other that it's the best solution. It just feels like a Deus Ex Machina. Oh, problem solved neatly with no conflict anymore. Like, the episode drove home repeatedly how this was a conflict with no win, because the Native Americans did not want to move. They saw it as like a threat to who they were, to be taken from this land. The Cardassians are like, this is already ours. The treaty's been signed. This is our place. Like, tough. Like, you need to go. And then Picard, well, reluctant because he understands the optics of it all. He's got his orders. He has to remove them, and this is for overall a better thing, even for this one group of people. It's quite bad. And then it just all gets washed away with, oh, well, the solution pleases everyone, right? We've avoided the thing altogether.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much it really does, because do the Cardassians not want the planet?
I mean, I think they do, but how much of the planet does this group of Native Americans actually take up? Like, one little village worth out of a whole planet?
I guess. I don't know. It feels like it doesn't track with what we know of Cardassians, that they're happy to just leave a section of their planet to do whatever. Like, are they not going to be paranoid that these people are going to like be spying and sending messages to the Federation somehow from inside their border?
Yeah, I suppose that's an interesting concern I never thought of. I thought you were going to go away with that, and I was going to say, what, do you really think they're going to be scared of the military potential of this one little village? But as spies for the Federation, I guess you could see the argument for that. But I mean, that's fair. I mean, my problem was just how out of nowhere it came. Like, if you want to convince me that this is the solution they agree on, that's fine. But you need to actually give me that debate, give me them trying to convince each other. Like, because honestly, yeah, maybe the first thing should have been like, hey, can we ask the Cardassians if we can stay? Like, just can we be here on this planet under their jurisdiction? Are they going to be cool with that? Like, I mean, that's never floated until we cut to this scene at the very end where, oh, that's what we've decided.
That's because instead of having that debate and doing that as what the episode should have been, we wasted all our time with Wesley's bullshit.
That's very true. That is very true.
Which was completely unrelated to anything else in the plot, by the way. Like, it doesn't actually have any impact on it. It's just his thing doing his thing.
No, you're right. It doesn't really have that much or any impact. If anything, the only reason why it's tangentially kind of connected is because the Traveler decides to pretend to be one of the Native Americans. That's the only thing that really connects it to it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But and he gets himself involved with them a little bit. Like, but that could have been literally anyone who has that inciting incident.
I mean, yeah, him taking his stance and like yelling out what they're going to do, like that is the one fundamental thing that ties it to that main story.
The thing is, that's kind of a different level of the plot to what Wesley's actual plot is to do with the Traveler. Because like that side of it there, if it never went down the Traveler route and it was just Wesley trying to understand who he is and find his place, and you know, maybe it comes about that he does want to leave Starfleet and not be in the Academy. Because that's ultimately the end point of his character here, is that that's not him.
Yeah, so the idea in the scene is that he is going against Starfleet's wishes because he thinks that this is wrong regardless. Right. So it's setting that up.
Thematically, there should be a lot there with these Native Americans being like, no, we want to go against Starfleet and do our thing and find our own place in the world, and this is us, and we want to be here, even if it's with the Cardassians. And there should be so much of that parallel in Wesley, but it does nothing with it.
No, I mean, I agree. Like, you're right.
And the reason it does nothing with it is because it wastes the time on the Traveler stuff instead of having that debate. Like that debate there of, we want to be our own thing, we want to do this, and we, you know, maybe we join the Cardassians, like go under their rule to do it. That debate that we're saying is missing. That's the bit that should be paralleling with Wesley's feelings, but instead we do the Traveler bit.
Yeah, and also even just like Picard's like dilemma of like not wanting to go through with this but having to. I feel like at a certain point that just kind of falls to the side as well, where it's just kind of, you know,
well, orders are orders.
Yeah, I mean, once they've had a couple of debates with them, once we switch over to it mostly focusing on Wesley and the Traveler and the Cardassians being there, it feels like his own kind of, I don't know, it does feel like it takes away from like what could have been the backbone of the episode and kind of glosses over some of that stuff. So, and that's also why I think some of the ending just kind of feels like unearned. It's like, okay, you've just magically solved this in a way that pleases everyone, so that there's like some of the best episodes of Next Generation, I'd argue, are the ones where there is no neat solution and we have to accept that there's no neat solution. And this was like, no, we'll just have a neat solution regardless of how the thing was set up in the first place, or how this conflict was set up.
I think, ironically, if this had the full debate, we would be saying this isn't a neat solution. Like, because it's not really, in the context of the way it's presented in the episode, it is the hand wave neat solution of just, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. But if we'd actually had this debate of, oh, they want to stay, they're going to stay, they're going to be part of the Cardassians, how's this going to work? That's not a neat solution at all, not really. Not when the neat solution is everyone stays on their own sides, we go back to how it's supposed to be. I think it just undermines its own like point of like, you know, this isn't ideal for anyone really, but we're going to make it work. And instead it presents it as, oh no, this is it, it's sorted, just don't worry about it.
And forget the fact that, you know, both Picard and the Cardassian essentially say, yeah, we'll convince our own governments this is a good idea. So it's technically not even official yet. It's just like they've both agreed to it, but it's like, oh, we have to go back and convince our higher ups that this is the solution. And
I think like the more I think about it, the more frustrated I am, because there's a couple of good moments with like Picard and the Cardassian leader like towing up to each other and being like, if you shoot those people, I'm gonna have to retaliate, and you know, this is gonna lead to war, and like there's an actual bit of tension between the two of them where they both don't really want. Well, I don't think either of them really want war, even the Cardassian. But they're both like, I'm gonna do what I've got to do and like protect my interests. And I think there's so much there that you could really delve into that if you bring that to the actual negotiating table and have that energy together. I think there's a lot there that, again, we just don't get.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's like they talk a little bit about how the Native Americans left 200 years ago to go find their own land to preserve their culture. And that's an interesting detail, but one of the things I said when I read the description for this episode is that it's weird that it's Native Americans and not just some, native of this planet that they're going to, that they're having to get rid of. And I think it does open this weird can of worms. It's almost like they want to have Native Americans in their episode, but we have to explain why they're still Native Americans, because it's, Star Trek's technically, the Starfleet, the Federation, is relatively speaking a utopia. So the idea that like Native Americans wouldn't just be, given their land in some capacity, like, when everything is worked out in the Federation or whatever, it was kind of weird. It feels like it doesn't really work in the context of what Starfleet has always been presented by, or what the Federation's always been presented by. But they really wanted to have Native Americans in this episode, so we've had to explain it in some way.
It feels strange though to me. Like, again, I'm no expert on Native Americans, like, at all, but it feels like the whole thing's like they're connected to their land. That's kind of an important part, right? Like, it's their land.
I mean, again, I'm no expert either, but yeah.
But like, and this is like, they wandered for 180 years trying to find somewhere, and then they went, yeah, here, that'll do. That's spiritually perfect. And I'm like, I would have liked the idea if we're doing Native Americans in Star Trek, which, okay, if we're doing that, the idea that they're just a nomadic wandering tribe, that they're still disconnected from any land, I think that would have worked so much better as an idea in Star Trek.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's so. I think the rift for me here is that you've got a group of characters, I guess characters in this episode, that are rooted firmly in present day ideas, which is the Native Americans. And then you've got the other characters, or regular characters, who are in this future that we've always been told is the way it is. And we've left a lot of things behind, like a lot of bad things about the world and the way that we were all divided has been moved on from. And like things are better now for, everything that Star Trek's ever taught us. And I think this weird clash of like bringing up Picard's family connections, however old they may be, to actual tragedies. Well, I would say in the universe. I'm not sure. I don't know if the exact event he's talking about is based on a real thing. Maybe it is. I don't know. But trying to like line those up so we're doing kind of this idea of like Picard not having guilt per se, but like feeling the weight of this idea of like, oh, my people did this to these people some time ago, and I want to make that better. There's a weird disconnect when one part of this culturally is still kind of firmly rooted in present day, right? The Native Americans feels like the very just present day idea of what a Native American group is, whereas Starfleet and the Enterprise is like, no, we're way in the future and we're way beyond a lot of these conflicts that we talk about on a day-to-day basis.
I agree with you, but I know exactly why they've made this choice. I'm not saying it's the right spot. I understand it from their point of view. It's like you say, this is we've moved past these things in Star Trek. There are these things that divide us, but fundamentally, what we see is a very Anglo-American society in the future, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Federation, and if you say, oh well, we moved past this, there's no Native Americans anymore because we're this now. This is better. That just sounds so bad to present that as the idea of this has superseded them. I'm not saying that's what they would ever intended, but I think if they even presented the idea that Native Americans don't need to exist anymore because we're this now, that just you can't say that. Like, you can't even propose that as an idea without it being horrific. And someone would have ripped them to shreds for it, rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see it as replacing everyone, though, not any one particular group.
I agree.
Yeah.
We're seeing it as, they replaced everyone. But what we're seeing that's replaced everyone is white Anglo-American culture, right? That's what we see as the face of Star Trek, as the face of the Federation.
Yeah, that to me, though, is like less of the idea of what Star Trek is and more just the reality of it was an American show casting here in this era.
I agree.
And so on and so on.
I completely agree. But I think with it being an American show in this era, I think that's why it's more aware of Native Americans specifically, as opposed to maybe we're undermining other cultures as well. But I think that one hits very close to home for them. And so they're more aware of it. And that's why they don't want to make that statement outright.
So I guess what we're getting to the final point here is that Star Trek is the idea, and then the meta idea of when Star Trek existed. These two things aren't lining up. Like if you took Star Trek super logically to its ultra just on paper conclusion, it wouldn't have this in it. But because we're making it in 1994, and we want to talk about present day issues, and we don't want the optics of certain things to look a certain way, we have this.
Yes, and that's exactly how it ended up, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I think it was very, very conscious decisions to make it like that because of the optics, and I completely understand why they've done it, but I think it's always one of those things that you can't write around because of the way the universe exists.
And yeah, but then the other problem is those. Okay, that's a solid reason, sure, but then you've got all the stereotypes of the spiritual stuff in Vision Quest and everything that's always in these Native American episodes of any TV show that ever does one.
Do you think they had any Native American consultants on this episode? The answer is no. No, they didn't. Of course they didn't. I don't think that was a thing back then.
I mean, they might have done, but like he was like a con artist who just like is like, yeah, that's it. Give me more money.
Yeah,
that's just so funny. Everything's accurate. Pay me, please.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting discussion to be had, and I don't. And it's the sort of thing where I would love to know what a Native American's actual, like, their thoughts on this episode are and how it fits into Star Trek. Because fundamentally, we're two white guys that aren't even American having this discussion.
Yeah. I think, for the record, I actually think it's very well-meaning. I don't think it's mean-spirited. Maybe it's flawed, but I don't think it's mean-spirited. I think it's very well-meaning. I think the idea of we cannot take these people away from their land again. And again, that's Picard's opinion, and we see it's reflected in the broader Federation, but they're willing to overlook it for the greater good. But Picard wants to put up that fight, at least for half the episode. I think that's like very clearly well intentioned, but I think ultimately the fact that Picard just does come around to, well, if we got to do it by force, we got to do it by force. I think that shows that he, from a meta point of view, he's very much part of the system, and I think this is why we're supposed to like Wesley more. Again, if Wesley wasn't an annoying little shitbag, we're supposed to like him here. He's the young hippie, essentially, standing up against the culture, being like, no, even though this is what your orders are, it's the wrong thing to do. We should be taking a stand. We're supposed to be on his side, but because it's Wesley Crusher, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's also kind of conflicting with what most of Star Trek is, which is that, no, in general, like, they're doing the right thing because ideals are in a better place, and Picard's usually there to do the right thing.
And do you know what, the more I think, the more frustrated I'm at this episode, because again, there's something there of, fundamentally, we kind of know that Star Trek, the Federation, they're doing the right thing, the greater good. We know the grand scheme of things. But that doesn't make it better for these people. It's shitty for these people. And I don't think this episode addresses that enough.
No, and also, I think it throws in a little line early on, I think actually undercuts things a little bit. Because it made me kind of like side with Starfleet for a second. Which is the Admiral does say at one point that they were told 20 years ago when they found this planet that because it's so close to Cardassian's territory that it could have problems, and they chose to move in anyway. I do think that is a little interesting wrinkle of like, well, you were kind of warned.
Yeah, I agree. I think that line doesn't help things.
Yeah.
Especially as it's so easily avoidable of just saying Cardassia's borders were nowhere near there at the time. They've expanded in the last 20 years. Yeah,
this was unforeseen, because then it's like, oh, this is just really bad luck. But the fact that they were even warned and knew this was like near somewhere dangerous, and
it almost makes it their own fault. Like, they had it coming because they should have known better. Yeah, that's extra shitty.
Yeah, or at the very least, if you ignore that part of it, then at the very least it feels a little bit like, I don't know, like you're staking claim to this place, even though you were told there was a chance that it might not be suitable forever. but now that you've got it, you're refusing to give it up. And even though, like, this could lead to a conflict that could ignite another war, that could send millions upon millions into fighting once again, as is what, that's what Picard and the Cardassian talk about later in the episode. It almost does kind of feel like, this almost feels a little bit selfish now. Like you're willing to let the entire Federation get into a war with an entire other empire because another planet, and again, Picard and Troy even immediately say, we've got 3 other planets that are good contenders immediately that are ready to, go to right now. Like, there's no waiting time. They don't need to be, terraformed or anything. They've got good ecosystems. They're ready to go. So, and it's all because of that one line where they knew this could be a problem at some point.
You're right. It makes them culpable for it.
Yeah. So that stuck out to me as well.
This is a very annoying episode, and not even just for the Wesley Crusher stuff. Just for
it's annoying, in general for some of the things that it doesn't address.
Even conceptually, it's kind of annoying just to be doing this.
And on top of that, it's also talking about Native Americans and like how that's as a subject is being treated. Well, there's things that I think I do recognize as problematic or an issue. I also do fully acknowledge that I'm not the best person to be recognizing those things, and I always feel kind of weird talking about certain subjects like this because I'm like, I don't feel qualified. So I'm trying to call out what I can. I'm trying to have a thoughtful conversation that I can. It's
fine. You were very qualified to talk about the shitty Scottish representation a few episodes ago.
I mean, yes, that was very offensive. I was very upset by that.
Yeah.
How dare they?
Can I imagine if the Native Americans feel like you did? I think that's what makes this stick out so much worse, is that we've done these type of stories on Star Trek so often. Like the idea of resettling these people, this is their land. We've done this story before.
And better, yeah, for sure.
But better, and more importantly, just not Native Americans. It's very easy to project Native Americans onto it, but it wasn't Native Americans, right?
Well,
and we've done it with a lot of cultures over this show.
When we were talking about the idea of Native Americans still existing in Star Trek, and you were talking about how, it wouldn't be good optics to say that they've been, they don't exist anymore because they don't need to for this reason and that reason. There's actually a very simple solution to it, is just don't address the Native Americans exist.
No, I agree. That's fun. When I say conceptually, it's flawed. Just don't do it as Native Americans.
Yeah.
Just, again, it's just as simple as what we've done literally probably over 100 times in Star Trek at this point. It's just a different made-up culture that represents... You can very easily project real-world cultures onto it, and historical events and things onto the things. We've had that multiple times in this show. But for some reason this time, though, no, we're being specific.
Yeah. No, it opens a can of worms that I don't... And it's sort of thing where if they had some blinder of an episode to really justify it, that'd be one thing, but... No, I mean, all the worms that I thought were in the can are here, and they're not solved by the writing of the episode. They're still just kind of wriggling around. So, yeah, it's a weird one. But and in the end, I just didn't think it was that satisfying either. As a Star Trek story. So
even we said structurally, it just kind of waves away everything. It takes away all the good things of what we like about these style of episodes in Next Gen, those debates that no one really wins solution. It takes all that away and just goes, don't worry about it. And that's, even aside from all the other issues, that's just underwhelming for an episode of this show.
That plus 20 minutes of really emo annoying Wesley Crusher, and you've got a winner in your hands. Yeah, last episode was better. I'll say it.
I don't know if I agree with that still. I don't think I can go that far. I think this one might, I think I hated last one more. This one frustrates me more, but I can see ideas in this that are so good. I can see like a 9 out of 10 episode in this.
Yeah, just like Wesley saw his father. Equally invalid.
I mean, in my version of the 9 out of 10 episode, there might be no Wesley Crusher. Or if there is, he's not such an annoying shitbag.
He dies instantly. He lands on the planet.
Hey, that'd be 10 out of 10.
Takes a phaser blast from a Cardassian to save a Native American, and it's Wesley did something heroic and he's now
noble
dead.
Sacrifice. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, at least they didn't get killed by a puddle.
That's true.
That's a level up.
That's true.
All right, that's Journey's End. What's coming next time on Star Trek Next Generation? We got an episode called Firstborn. Here is the description on IMDb. In an effort to help him keep his Klingon heritage, Worf and his son Alexander attend an ancient Klingon ceremony. Okay.
On the face of it, this sounds like another one where we're wrapping up things of like loose threads.
This will be the last Alexander episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
And it's probably going to be the last Worf episode as well. I would suspect.
Focused on him, sure. Obviously, he's still going to be.
He'll be around,
yeah.
but like this will be the last. The Worf Klingon heritage. That, and this time being like, no, this is all about him and his son. That feels like a natural endpoint for that in this show.
Yeah, I would say it's the last Klingon episode. Maybe is a better way of putting it.
Yeah, there might be a Worf and Troy episode still. Who knows?
Oh yeah, their wedding, of course. So we've got so much to do. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I'm expecting one more big data episode at least as well before we get to the finale. Yeah. Not necessarily Picard, because I can see the finale being Picard's episode.
I think so.
Well,
and same with Riker. I don't know if Riker will have one or if it'll be Riker and Picard at the end.
That makes some sense. All right, well, there you go. We'll see how that is next time. Obviously, we'll be back with Deep Space Nine first, though, so look forward to that. You can like, subscribe, all that stuff helps out a bunch if you can in the comments, blah, 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 blah. You can support everything over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV or YouTube membership if that's more convenient. But thanks to everyone who already does. That is the show. We'll see you next time. Keep watching Star Trek. And somewhere out there, on another plane of existence, Wesley Crusher needs his own room. And they never say why, of course, but we all know it's because he wants to knock one out without his mum walking in on him. So he's knocking one out in the sky, Big Wes.